Hi, this is Karl with a Relax, Focus, Succeed video. Today I want to talk about your workplace. And if it's not your current workplace, well, with luck, it'll be your someday workplace. Fundamentally, I want to talk about the fact that you should work at a place that's good for your mental health. You know, one of the things I've often said to people in the IT business is that I think many consultants like myself became consultants because of a horrible boss who made the workplace essentially just a pit of poison and forced people to leave. And those who didn't leave found themselves crying at their desks, feeling abused, feeling like the bottom had been kicked out of their workplace. You know, it's absolutely true that most of us are going to spend about 2,000 hours a year at work. Well, 2,000 hours a year is a lot of time, and you should not spend that much time doing something you hate, or doing something you love at a place you hate, or doing something you love with a team that you just don't get along with, or they make you feel horrible all the time. People often write to me or get on a Zoom call and talk to me about the situation that they're in with their work. And very often, my advice is the same to them over and over again. Either you have to stop caring about where you work, or you have to leave. And if I have to pick one of these over the other, I'm always going to pick the belief that you should leave a place that's unhealthy for you and find a great place to work. And some people think that that's all pie in the sky. Like, oh, you know, that's easy for you to say, but back here in the real world. Well, I've been in the real world. I've had an awful lot of jobs, worked for a lot of people, and I have to say, I've had the luck to work for some really great people and the bad luck to work for a handful of really horrible people. And the good news is, right now, the economy is great if you're looking for a job. You don't even have to quit your current job first. You can put out a resume, go find a job, and then give your 2 weeks notice. And to be honest, and you probably never expect me to say this, but if your boss is a horrible human being, then I don't know that you owe them anything, including 2 weeks notice. If your boss is great to you, has given you regular raises, treats you with respect, makes you feel part of the team, makes you feel valued in what you're doing, then by all means, I think you do owe them something, and I think that you do owe them a couple weeks' notice. On the other hand, if your boss is great and participates in making you feel good, helps you provide an education or training so that you can get better at what you do, helps you build that team, you probably don't want to leave. And here's what I would remind people who are sort of floundering out there. Good bosses exist. In fact, I think they're more common than bad bosses. Bad bosses come from people with low self-esteem who are very often just angry people. You know, they're not happy in their life, and so they're taking it out on the workplace. I don't think I've ever met a horrible boss who was a good, happy person whose life was figured out. They might be out there, don't get me wrong, but I think it's much more common that a bad boss is a bad boss for a reason. Now, some people don't have the appropriate training. Some people are truly elevated to a position where they are no longer competent. That does happen. But you know, a well-intentioned good person in that situation is going to gather the team around them and say, I need help. I need to learn some things so I can be successful. I need you to show me how to be good at this job. And I've seen many, many people over the years who have been in that situation, and their team has gathered around them and lifted them up. One of my favorite rules of life is that I work with people I like. And in the businesses that I own, I've always had the rule, we only work with people we like. We only work with clients we like, employees we like, vendors we like, distributors we like, so forth and so on. So if somebody's a total jerk, we just don't take them on as a client. Recently, one of my employees, I was going to lunch and I said, hey, I'm going to go to lunch, but I want to talk to you when I get back, da-da-da-da-da. And I went off to lunch. And when I came back, she said, and she's been with me about 6 months. She said, this is the first job I've ever had where when somebody said, I want to talk to you, I didn't get nervous about it. I didn't feel worried. I didn't have any negative reaction to that. And it's because she knows fundamentally that even if I'm going to say, oh, something needs to be fixed or something needs to be better or we need to change the way that we do something, I'm not going to be a jerk about it, right? I know that she's here to make my business better. And so I value her. Otherwise, she wouldn't be on the team. So, the culture has to come from the top down. So if you're a business owner, you have to think about how you build a long-term culture to get good people on board and then get good people to stay with you for the long term. Today, it's very common for people to have this sort of standard understanding that an employee is going to stick around for 3 to 5 years, and that's the most that you can hope for today. At the same time, you run into people who have been working at a company for 10, 15, sometimes 20 years. It does still happen, but it takes a lot of perseverance. And, a job is just like any other relationship. Everybody's got to work at it. You can't have a relationship where one person gives everything and the other person takes everything. Those kinds of relationships, no matter what they are, can't last for very long. If you are an employee and you're feeling frustrated and you're feeling angry and you're feeling unloved and you're feeling that you are not getting what you want from your job, it doesn't really matter what the economy's doing. The best thing you can do for yourself is go find another job. And I know it sounds like, oh, it's easy advice to give, but I'm just telling you, when you look back 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, any move that got you into a better job where you felt more capable, more part of the team, more competent in what you're doing, those were all moves that allow you to grow as an individual and grow as a professional. And you owe it to yourself to get out there and move up beyond your comfort zone and into a better life. If you can flip just one little bit of your life and increase the amount of happiness dramatically, you should do it. And I know it's very scary to say, I'm going to move to a different situation, but the reality is almost any move you make today is going to pay more. And if your boss is horrible, then almost any move you make is going to be to a better boss. Part of growing as a professional is learning what the appropriate boundaries are. And if bosses cross those boundaries, it's okay for you to take your loyalty somewhere else to somebody who is a better boss, who understands the role that you play and the need for your competence, understands how you should be part of a team, and understands how to make you improve as an individual. Bosses need to know, and the good ones do, that helping your team be better at what they do helps the entire company. When bosses feel like they're in some kind of competition with their employees, that goes downhill really fast. Bosses need to embrace their employees and know that helping them be better at what they do helps everything in the company. If you are worried, if you are scared, if you hate your job, put a comment down below. I'd be happy to respond to anybody. And I know that if you're going through this personally, it is a very, very difficult thing. So I don't want to be cavalier about saying just quit your job, but make a plan and make it happen, because you really do owe it to yourself. For Relax, Focus, Succeed, this is Karl Palachuk, wishing you the best of luck in your job and everything you do.